Tomorrow marks 4 years since the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, a day that shook this city and the nation. A mob of then-President Trump's supporters smashed their way into the Capitol, falsely believing that the 2020 election had been stolen. A bipartisan Senate report later found that at least 7 people lost their lives in connection with the attack. Now, years later, the legacy of that day and what it means to our country remains a bitter partisan divide. Joining us to discuss the January 6th attack are 2 journalists who were there that day and have been covering its impacts ever since. Tom Bowman is NPR's Pentagon correspondent, and producer and reporter Lauren Hodges is with All Things Considered. Welcome to you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You were both there 4 years ago, and I just wonder now, 4 years later, how that day stands out to you.
Well, I remember covering Trump's speech. I was there above the Washington Monument, that area, in the sea of people. And then I walked down and started interviewing people, and everyone was respectful. And then I started walking down Pennsylvania Ave, and I tell people it was a festive atmosphere, which sounds strange. You know, people were laughing, joking, waving to each other. And then as I got closer to the Capitol, it was like a storm was coming in. There was this sense of anger and bad energy. And at that moment, Lauren called me. She was up in the Capitol in the middle of a mob.
I was there with our then extremism correspondent, Hannah Lamb, and pretty much as soon as we got to the Capitol grounds, there was kind of this hunger for violence. People were really ready to start something.
You could sense that.
Oh, they were speaking about it. They had an eagerness to see some violence or participate in it.
In the last 4 years, we have been going through this process of trying to define and redefine what that day was all about. And there's been an enormous amount of revisionist history going on about that. What is your sense of what is driving that?
Initially, everyone agreed, Democrats, Republicans, everyone, this was a bad thing. This was an insurrection. And some Republican leaders put the blame on Donald Trump, said, you instigated this. You started this insurrection. And almost immediately, the revision started. Well, they weren't Trump supporters.
It was Antifa.
It was Antifa, Black Lives Matter. You know, FBI agents were up there instigating the crowd. That was when the narrative started to change. And it really started with Fox News.
Well, and then the FBI element, once the FBI actually started making arrests, that was when it became unavoidable who was there. It was Trump supporters. So then a new narrative shift started where it was, well, these were Trump supporters, but they were patriots, and they didn't do anything wrong. They were just caught up in a crowd. It was a bunch of good people having a bad day.
And again, Donald Trump still calls them patriots, and it looks like he's going to pardon quite a few of them, those who didn't get involved in violence. They're going to get pardoned.
This few bad apples idea percolates a lot in the podcast that you guys did called a good guy. Can you tell us about the man at the center of that?
Well, his name is Josh Abate. He was a Marine and still is a Marine. He was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, 3rd-generation Marine, and he grew up about an hour west of Washington.
And he believed that the election had been stolen. He was like many of those.
Correct,
there.
he didn't. He always watched Fox News and far-right websites. So that's where he got his information from.
And he was among those that entered the Capitol that day. I guess it's not really clear if he engaged in violence or not. He says he did not. How does the Marine Corps reckon with not just Abate, but several other Marines who showed up that day?
1,500 people were arrested in connection with the insurrection or riot, whatever you want to call it. About 200 military members, mostly veterans, were there, and a large number of them were Marines, right?
So disproportionate number.
Because they are the smallest of the fighting forces. Right. But here's the thing, William. The military, they don't know if there's an extremism problem in the military because they're not collecting data like they would be for sexual harassment or sexual assault. Only this past year did they put out guidelines, what's prohibited behavior. Overthrowing the government is one of them. And now all the services are supposed to collect data to make sure that they do have a handle on whether there's a problem or not. I think a lot of that's going to be brushed aside under the next administration.
And the reason we think that is because there's a lot of verbal condemnation right away, like this, zero tolerance, we condemn this, these are not good Marines. But then when it came to action, when it came time for them to enact real consequences, nothing really happened. So the words didn't really match the actions when it came to how they were reconciling with so many of their people out there that day.
Yeah, what's interesting about our podcast is there were 3 Marines, Josh and his 2 buddies from Quantico, the Marine base down there. So they were all charged with misdemeanors. They all did community service, 279 hours of community service, 1 hour for every Marine casualty in the Civil War, which is fascinating to me. But in all three cases, after they were convicted, the Marine Corps panels decided to keep them in the Marine Corps. And Josh, to this day, is still a Marine. And the Secretary of the Navy, Carlos Del Toro, has yet to decide whether to keep him in or not. The other two, one was kicked out by a general at Camp Pendleton, California. The other ran out his enlistment. So Josh, of the three, he's the only one left.
Really a tremendous piece of reporting. The podcast is called A Good Guy. Tom Bowman, Lauren Hodges, thank you so much.
You're welcome.